Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on bjpen.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton, episode 79, ahead of UFC Vegas 55. We got a good lineup for you. First up, we're going to be joined by Chase Hooper, who's back in action. He's fighting Felipe Colares. So this is my first time ever talking to Chase. Really good chat with him about the time off. He obviously hasn't fought since June of last year when he lost to Steven Peterson. He said he learned a lot in that fight, and that's kind of been the plan for him, is be minimal fights and just really be in the gym and working. He went to Wonder Boy's gym for a bit, worked there, worked a lot with their good wrestlers. He said wrestling's a big thing he's been working on because he knows if he can get the fight down to the ground, that's where he's going to have success. And it's not even just with his jiu-jitsu, it's with striking and ground and pound. And he thinks that's, if he can mix all that, and then he can be a lot better fighter. But Felipe Colares is a bantamweight moving up to featherweight, hasn't fought since October of last year when he lost a split to Chris Gutierrez. Chase thinks it's a kind of an intriguing matchup. He was surprised when he got the name, but he's really looking forward to this one. He really wants to show it all the skills he's been working on. We're then going to be joined by Eryk Anders to preview his fight against Jun Park. Eryk is back in action, coming off that submission loss to Andre Muniz. We also talked about that whole chainsaw incident where he cut his foot open with a chainsaw. So really fun little, well, not fun, but a good chat there about this. And just this fight, like Eryk knows pressure's on him. Like the one thing that's really bothered him lately is he's just hadn't been able to find consistency. He had the 2 wins that are over Morea and Mishar, then he lost to Jotko. Then he had that no contest against Stewart, beat him, and then he lost to Muniz. He says he needs to start stringing together some wins. He thinks working in Arizona at Fight Ready has been a major help. He thinks he's going to be a lot better here. And against Jun Park, he thinks he can find that knockout shot given what Gregory Rodriguez did to him last time out. We're then going to be joined by Parker Porter to preview his heavyweight match against Jolton Almeida. This is a really kind of weird one. Jolton is a light heavyweight, has looked very impressive on the Contender Series and in his UFC run. He beat Danilo Marquez in the first round in his debut. He was then supposed to fight Maxime Grishin. Grishin withdrew, and then they offered him Parker Porter at heavyweight, and Parker accepted the fight. He says he doesn't really turn down fights, but he thinks he's in a lose-lose here, because if he beats up Almeida, everyone's going to say, oh, you beat up a light heavyweight. And if he loses, his little nice win streak where he beat Badeau, Sherman, Parisian, his win streak comes to an end. He kind of has to work back up to where he was. So for him, this is just another fight. He doesn't really know what it does for him, but always like talking to Parker. And then we close things out talking to Vince Morales about his fight against Jonathan Martinez. Vince is coming off that big knockout win over Louis Smolka back in December. It's his second win in a row. So he's starting to get more consistent. Jonathan Martinez, meanwhile, also on a 2-fight winning streak. His last loss is actually by knockout to Davey Grant. And funny enough, Grant and Morales spent a lot of this training camp together at Syndicate. They were helping each other out, given Grant just fought Louis Smolka, who Vince just fought, and Grant fought Jonathan Martinez. They were given a lot of pointers. It's going to be interesting to see if that helps at all, but be sure to share the show. Be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in. Not next week. There's no card next week. The following week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by UFC featherweight Chase Hooper, who's back in action. Chase, how's it going, man?
Not too bad. Just hanging out, getting ready for May.
Yeah, obviously you haven't fought in nearly a year. Like, I know you've kind of talked about, like, was that kind of the goal after the last one, was to take more time off and just be in the gym?
Not on my end necessarily. It's the issue is just that it's kind of more on UFC's schedule. So I obviously was trying to get a fight in December, trying to get a fight in January, February, March, April. But May is what they offered, so May is what I took. And obviously I'm happy to get back in there. But this is the longest time I've ever taken between fights. And it wasn't even like I didn't have a crazy injury or anything, but it's just kind of how it worked out. So, I got to take what I can get. And, this is a great matchup for me. So I'm willing to take that into consideration with the fact that it just took so long to get a matchup.
Your last fight, like, what do you take away from that? Like, Steven came in overweight, and then, like, what do you kind of take away from that fight then?
That one really bothers me just for the fact that I feel like I should have had the tools to win that fight, and it's on me for whatever mistakes I made, whatever stuff wasn't quite clicking for me on that night, and you never want a guy like that to kind of beat you, especially after missing weight. But there's no excuses here. I just I needed more confidence. I needed more just more work, more time in, and I think this one, it's really going into it with a mentality of like not having anything to lose, just kind of going in there. Just knowing that like all I have to do is work for those 15 minutes and not worrying about anything outside of just the guy sitting in front of me. And I have a really good mindset, I feel like, going into this fight, and it's just kind of trying to keep that healthy mentality. And yeah, I think that was kind of one of the biggest things from the last fight is the mental side of it. I've really neglected that in the past. But it's a huge factor when you think about it. And yeah, we'll see how it works out.
And I know you never want like this much time off, but on the flip side, like you're still young, like you're 22. You got me by like 13 days. I'm end of September of 99,
Oh,
but
nice. Oh yeah.
uh like I know you've gone around different gyms, like you trained with Wonder Boys. Like, do you think in the long run that is going to help you this time off that you are just working and kind of improving your game?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's hopefully I'll be like a different fighter than I was in the last one. Just more well rounded overall. It's just kind of trying to use that type of stuff to motivate you. Like for me, a loss has always been crazy motivating. Whether it's in jiu-jitsu or MMA here. But it really allowed me the time to kind of sit back and be like thinking about what I need to work on and having the time to do it. I've been out in South Carolina, probably 2, 3, 4 times maybe since the fight. Just kind of getting work in. They have crazy good wrestlers down there. They have crazy good strikers. So I'm able to kind of bring them like more of a jujitsu look, that they might not see all the time, and then they're able to give me those other two more specialized sides. And yeah, it's been really solid training with different guys, getting to enjoy some time off, let my body kind of like the stress of the weight cut is definitely hard on your body. So it's kind of nice to get some of that time off and just kind of yeah, it's been nice. I've definitely been feeling like I want to fight, which is also nice. Yeah, I feel like that's a lot better, is wanting to fight rather than feeling like, oh, all right, well, we got to do this again. After just so much time, I'm anxious to get back in there.
And your opponent, Felipe Colares, like, did this kind of surprise you just because this will be his first fight at 45? Like, he's primarily been a bantamweight.
Yeah, I think he's kind of he's such a similar fighter to me. But just at 35 and now that he's moving up, I don't really take too much into that. Obviously, he's probably not going to be a huge 45er. I can't imagine he would be cutting a ton of weight to make 35 like that. But, just knowing like, all right, well, he's probably going to have good cardio. He's used to like these 35 guys. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a good matchup, but he's very similar style to myself, like very grappling heavy. So it's a fun matchup on paper, and I think it'll be a fun one to watch in May.
And with that though, like you're gonna have like a 5-inch height advantage, like 6-inch reach advantage. Like how big do you think that's gonna be the size, and then probably even the strength too, just because he is a 35er coming up?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just going to be me trying to make the most of that, trying to actually use it, trying to actually use my length and my height and all that, and not being so jammed up like I kind of have been in the past, whether it's the striking or the wrestling, the grappling, that type of stuff. Being a little more physical, and just trying to be a more well-rounded fighter overall.
With Claire's, like he's a very good grappler yourself. So do you like how do you think you kind of match up with him?
Yeah, obviously we'll see kind of going in there. But it was a great time. I actually had a grappling match for Fury FC,
Mhm.
which was on Fight Pass. I got to or Cage Fury. I'm sorry, not Fury FC. They're similar. But I got to grapple against Hanato Moicano. One of the best to step in there as far as jiu-jitsu guys. And that really, I feel like, bumped my confidence level up. Like I could tell that I was he had a very wrestler heavy style, so it wasn't a crazy intense match, but it was definitely good confidence boost to know that like I'm not going to go in there against a guy like of that caliber who's fought Cub Swanson, Ortega, Jose Aldo. He's fought all these great guys, and to be able to go in there and be like, oh, I didn't get beat up by that guy. Like he didn't just run through my jiu-jitsu, so it's must be all right. So that was definitely a confidence boost. We'll see what Felipe brings as far as his own grappling style. I feel like that's kind of the biggest thing is the people with the weird styles, which I feel like I have a little more. They're hard to train for, and they're hard to it's so hard to get a look for a guy when they don't have a very common style versus like a very traditional jiu-jitsu style. Versus like a 10th planet guy, it's hard to get a 10th planet guy if you train at a gi jiu-jitsu school. So I feel like I'll be able to hopefully bring in kind of a weird style and hopefully do enough to get on top, land some shots, not try to be so submission focused, try to be a little more ground and pound focused, and really just kind of taking whatever opportunities are there on the feet or on the ground. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Do you put any pressure on yourself, like to go out there and get a finish and like kind of make a statement? Because every time you fight, like I think there is a lot of pressure on you where people kind of expect you to get get a submission again.
Not necessarily for the finish. I remember my I think it was Pans when I competed when I was like 16. I ended up winning the gold medal in my division, which was crazy at the time. But I remember I'd been so used to going the distance for all of my matches, and I got a submission. I was like, oh, that's nice. Like I don't have to compete for another 6 more minutes. And that's kind of the thing is like not being so focused on, oh, I need to impress people, but like, oh, if I get a submission, then I don't have to work as hard, that type of thing. So it's really just, I don't know, like trying to take the pressure off myself and just, because I don't have anything to lose. Like there's no, I don't know. That's the mentality I'm trying to go in there with is, obviously just fight as hard as I can, but, just not holding back is more the thing. I've done that too much in the past where I think I'm too focused on like spacing my cardio out for the 15 minutes. So I'm just trying to kind of go out there and, take the fight wherever it happens to go, finish, decision, the guy rolls his ankle and it's a medical stop, whatever. I'll do whatever it takes to get that win. But I'm feeling really confident and just trying to again take that pressure off myself and not focus so much on all the noise like out here. Just focusing on like right ahead that guy standing across the cage trying to hurt me. And yeah.
And with going out to like Wonder Boys, it's not just striking but wrestling too. Like how big do you think that is, and just like kind of integrating that game further where then it's not just rolling for stuff where you can just shoot single leg and double legs to get them down to the ground?
Yeah, I think it's really been kind of trying to cultivate my styles in both the wrestling, both the striking, and not trying to do what everybody else does. Like it's so hard as a tall guy to go and like shoot in on a double, like that type of thing. If you're not super explosive, if you don't have that wrestling style. So it's trying to find the stuff that works well for me, the stuff that feels natural, that I can do like, 15 minutes into a fight, when I'm tired and like that type of stuff, because it's more technical, trying to work like less of that explosive wrestling and more, like the little easy stuff that fits my style more. Same thing with the striking. Like I've never been the guy to go in there and try to knock somebody's head off, but, trying to get more technical, do everything, kind of by the book, which is a great thing about Wonder Boys Gym and all those guys down there is they're so high level and they're so willing to teach you and like take you through step by step of like, oh, no, you need to change your angle. You need to like 45-degree change. And then now it's completely different. So it's just getting those different looks in and training with those higher level guys. And getting that feedback is really nice. Like even between reps, they're like, okay, change this for the next one and all that. It's been great.
And then even something that you did really well in the Tamer fight and something I've noticed too that you're improving is the ground and pound. Like is that something too that is always working on just so it's not, people aren't just being like, oh, I just got to avoid the submission where now you're a threat with your strikes on the ground as well?
Yeah, I think it's kind of that. And then also Similar to like the Aljo fight, where people are like, oh, he didn't win the round, or like he didn't get a 10-8 because he didn't do any damage. It's trying to do that damage, wear him down physically and mentally, and like making it look good, because the judging is what it is right now, and you can't rely on whether you think you won the round or not. You have to prove it. And yeah, it's always nice to get people to open up a little more. They're defending punches, they stick an arm up, you're able to get a submission because of that. Just yeah, again, having different things that they're worried about, and not just the grappling. Like trying to do MMA, not do jiu-jitsu on the grounds. Like do MMA, jiu-jitsu with striking, that type of stuff. And yeah, just trying to be more well-rounded overall. That's really been the focus of the past 9 months here.
How do you kind of see this fight playing out then?
Yeah, I feel as though I should be better everywhere. Hopefully, if I'm doing the right stuff, if I'm not going in there like an idiot. I'm feeling really good about it, physically and mentally. I'm feeling like I'm in great shape. I have the PI helping me, get my weight down in a healthy way, which I haven't done in the past. Hopefully, I'll be super shredded come fight night. But yeah, I'm really willing to do whatever it takes to win, whether it's, grappling them up for 15 minutes, whether it's striking for 15 minutes or wrestling for 15 minutes. I'm prepared for all of that. And if I go out there and it's a quick, easy night, all the more, reason to keep preparing for the next guy. It's just, obviously focusing on this guy right now, but there's a lot of wolves here that are hungry at 45, and they're all lined up to try to take what you have. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully showing that I belong here, and showing that I'm improving, and that the investment that UFC has kind of made in me is paying off or worthwhile.
Just two more things. Like, where do you think a win kind of puts you? Just because you are so young, like you're not really in this big rush to make this giant leap up. But then at the same time, like there's a lot of people when featherweights fight, a lot of people call you out just because you're like a popular name to call. It's like, where do you think a win kind of puts you?
Yeah, as far as the call out and stuff goes, I think I'm a really high risk, low reward fight. Like not like a Jeremy Stevens or a Josh Emmett. Like those guys, if you call them out and you fight them, like they're gonna try to put the hurt on you. They're gonna try to beat you down, and like literally do as much as they can do to hurt you physically. Whereas being more of a grappler, like they're like, oh, he's gonna choke me out, or he's gonna like, let go when I tap, that type of thing. So it's, I understand why people do it. And especially because of the age thing, they're like, oh, we'll try to get him now while he's young and like not as physically developed. But we'll really see where this puts me after the next fight. It really depends on, I'm just trying to impress the people that are keeping me employed. Dana, Sean, Mick, those are the only guys that I need to, care about my performance more than anything. But we'll really see. Division, I think we looked at the numbers as far as like the UFC roster, and 45, 55, and 70 are like the deepest. Like there's 80 or 90 45ers right now. So it's a long climb to that top 15. So I'm really like trying to take it slow. Obviously, I'm not going to be fighting Calvin Kattar next or something crazy like that. But yeah, I think it'll depend on my rate of improvement, and really just I'll take whatever fights they give me, whether it's at 45 or 55. We'll really have to see, kind of where I'm at physically, because I'm still growing, obviously, and I don't want to be making any death cuts, hopefully, to 45. So yeah, whether it's 45 or 55, I'm ready to, take the plunge, after this fight, and just kind of, this one's proving that I deserve to be here, and then, starting to climb up from there.
And just last thing, like, what's kind of the goal for you this year? Then, like, I know you want to be fairly active. So, like, what's kind of this perfect year for you?
Yeah, I would like to, maybe have 2 or 3 fights this year. It's kind of awkward to fight so late into the year already. It's kind of a slow start. It's going to be almost 11 months probably even 11 and a half months. Probably it's like two weeks or something from a year off from my last fight. So it's crazy low pace for what I've been used to. Like this is the longest time I've ever taken off. And I'm definitely ready to get active. You know, I'm trying to buy a house here, move into somewhere a little nicer. So you know, you got to put the work in and get that capital up. So yeah, I'm definitely ready for it after this one. I feel like I'm making a lot of the improvements that are necessary in order to do that and take these higher level guys. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, Chase, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's go. Let's knock it out.
All right, we're joined by UFC middleweight Eryk Anders, who's back in action. Eryk, how's it going, man?
Man, it's going well. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Before getting to your fight, the first thing I want to ask is this chainsaw incident I saw happen. How the heck did that happen?
Man, my wife, she just she has a secondary language acquisition school, and they just moved to a bigger spot. So in front of the building, there were these big holly bushes that needed to come down so she could hang her sign. And of course, you already know who got volunteered to do the job. So and I went out there and I was chainsawing these tree downs, and of course, on the last one, the the tree kind of leaned into the blade and like pinched the blade. So I was like straddling the tree and the chainsaw. So with one hand, I pushed up on the tree, thinking the chainsaw would like keep cutting straight through the bush, but it didn't. It kind of ran out and bounced off my foot. And to be honest, I really didn't even know I did it. Like I felt the weight of the chainsaw hit my foot, like the blade, but I wasn't even sure if the thing was running. And man, this is just like bing bang. And so I had to like move out, like the tree was falling, so I had to like move out of the way of this big tree, this big bush. And I was like, damn, that shit hit my foot. So I looked down at my shoelaces and my shoe was all mangled, and I was like, yeah, it was moving. And I slid my foot out of my shoe, and man, all you could see was white. I had socks on, and it cut through the sock, obviously, and man, you could just see like the blood fill in and pool and start pouring out. And so I just hopped in the car, fucking Ricky Bobby through traffic, stopped at the urgent care, and man, I went in there and I stood in the doorway and I said, hey, I cut my foot pretty good. Think I need stitches. And she's like, oh, you come fill out this paperwork. And I was like, lady, you don't understand, dude. Like my foot is leaking right now. I'm bleeding all over there's blood all over the inside of my car, blood footprints on the sidewalk outside the school. And so they went and got me a wheelchair, and I went back there, and they're soaking my foot in like this, water with iodine in it. And the doctor comes in, and he's like, hey, now you might have to go to the emergency room because I got to go pick my kids up and this, that, and the third. And the nurse who's coming, or the doctor who's coming in after me doesn't do sutures. And I just looked at him like, dog, look at my foot, dude. Like, come on. And long story short, he ended up doing it. He stayed. And, it's funny because he was like, oh, you do MMA, huh? And I said, yeah. And you wouldn't happen to know that guy who played football for Alabama and does MMA. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And, long story short, he was happy that he stayed too. So that, we had a pretty nice long conversation about Alabama football and these gnarly stitches I have in my foot. So, it all worked out.
How serious was it? Like, how long did it keep you away from the gym?
I think it happened on Friday. And I had already planned to go to Austin to train with Gordon Ryan and Danaher that Sunday. So I got stitches on Friday. chilled Saturday, chilled Sunday. I got on my flight, left, but didn't train on Monday. I think I only like worked out, like lifted on Monday, and then just wanted to give like a little bit, day to let the swelling and stuff go down so I could fit my wrestling shoe on. And then Tuesday I started training again.
And with this fight, like, was this already booked when that happened, or did this come up after?
Yeah, no, it's the fight was already booked. So my plan was to go out, train with Danaher and them for a little bit, and then come out here to Arizona. And, I didn't thankfully I didn't. The damage wasn't bad enough. Like I didn't sever any tendons or ligaments or nothing like that, but probably a little bit of nerve damage, like just in the skin, but not like, I don't have like a drop foot or anything like that, so just a couple stitches, trained really hard, been training hard, so really wasn't even a setback really.
And your opponent, Jun Young Park, like how much do you know about him?
I've seen him fight a couple times, he's a guy who finds ways to win, didn't work out so well for him in his last fight, but I guess that's why we're fighting, because they usually match, the losers with the losers and the winners with the winners. So, yeah, he's game. He's a fighter, so should be a fun one.
Are you just kind of expecting this one to be a striking fight?
I mean, he's pretty well rounded. He's won some fights on the ground. Beat some people up with the ground and pound. Guy has an assy anaconda, so I think that he's well rounded and can do everything. But I think his main thing is striking. But he'll mix it up, I guess.
And you already have very good takedown defense anyway. So do you think that kind of will force him to strike with you?
I don't know. I've been taken down in both of my last fights, so maybe he sees a hole that he thinks that he can exploit. So, yeah, I don't know what his game plan is or what he plans on doing. I just plan on going out there and, whenever the fight takes place, I'm ready to go.
And training camp out at Fight Ready again, like how has that kind of been? Like it seems like that's your home now. I think it's been a couple ones out there now. Like what's the kind of training camp been like?
Yeah, I think this will be like my fourth camp here, I think, third or fourth. Man, it's been awesome, dude. I just really love the way they do everything, the attention to detail. And I don't think, since I've been here, I've been unprepared for a fight. It's just a matter of me going out there and doing what I'm supposed to do to go out there and win. So, I think once all that meets up on May 21st, that, go out there and get my hand raised.
How do you kind of see it playing out? Just because I know you're a guy that always goes for that finish, and that the knockout hasn't been there for you in a bit.
I mean, I'm ready for the fight wherever it goes. Been really, trying to get back to my jiu-jitsu roots and grappling roots. So, wherever the fight takes place, man, I'm always looking for a finish. Just sharpening my grappling skills, so that if the fight is on the ground, that I can find a finish there as well.
What do you think a win does for you? Just because your last loss is to Muniz, who's in that top 15, like where do you think a win kind of puts you?
I don't think it really does much, to be honest, but I'll take on both checks, buy another house. So as far as like fighting, like my rank and whatnot, I don't think it does much, but for my what I'm trying to do and like accumulate wealth and assets and things like that, a win will, is obviously much better. The more money you have, the more assets that you can acquire. So, I think that's the main goal for my wife and I, is just to buy as many assets and get as money. Our thing is real estate. So if we can get another house or two, that's good for me.
What is kind of the goal for you this year? Just whenever I talk to you, it's always kind of just staying as active as possible, middleweight 205. Like, is that still the goal for you this year?
I like to stay at middleweight, but you know, I can't predict the future. All I know is what's going to happen on May 21st is my next fight. So, you know, I'd like to fight 2-3 times a year. So, you know, just show up, get this win, and, you know, I'll be able to call my shots, I think.
Do you really plan to call anyone out after this one, or do you have your eye on anyone, or is it just trying to stack up these wins?
You know, of course, you know, you're trying to stack up wins. Like, I don't think when somebody calls anybody out, they're not calling out somebody they think that they're going to lose to, you know? So, you know, a lot of guys be like, oh, I want a challenge. But no, dude, that's not. You can't call out this particular person for a challenge. If you wanted a challenge, then you would have called out the champ or whatever. But, man, I don't know, dude. We'll see what happens, man. You know, I do kind of want to spend the summer at home with the boys and the family and whatnot. So, you know, maybe in the fall we get back to it.
Are you still living in Alabama, or have you moved out full-time to Arizona?
No, I live in Alabama.
So is that something that you just leave for the training camps?
Yeah, I leave for 8 to 10 weeks at a time.
How hard is that then, just having to leave your family then for that long?
Man, the cool thing about my family is, man, they're all bought into my dream, you know. So, you know, they, which is, you know, really tough, I think, for a 10 and 12-year-old to like be mature like that. But, you know, I've been doing this their whole life, so, you know, they kind of understand. I don't think I have much time to fight left. It's not like I'm gonna do this for the next 10 years or anything. So I think they realize like the end is kind of like in sight, so to speak. So they're just kind of letting me go out there and live my dream, and I think they know it's for them, so it's all good.
And I know you're very close with Walt Harris. Have you kind of talked to him lately, just because he hasn't fought in a while, and they've been getting a lot of questions about when he's going to fight again?
I haven't, you know, just kind of letting him and his family deal with their with their situation, and you know, whenever he's ready to reach out and come back to the gym and train and fight, then you know he knows we're there for him. So, but I think that everybody's just kind of giving them their space and you know letting him do things on his terms when he's ready.
And I know like the fight camps in Arizona, but do you still train at home in Alabama? Like, are you still like in that gym every day? You're not in Arizona?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I manage a lot of those guys out of that gym now too. So, you know, I'm in there trying to, you know, share my fight knowledge and, you know, help prepare those guys and girls for fights and, you know, things like that. So, yeah, I'm always in the gym. I take a little time off after fights, but even though I'm not training, like I still go to the gym for the team practices and, you know, kind of throw my 2 cents whenever they ask for it. So just try to be a part of the team.
And just a couple more things. Like, what's it kind of been like at Fight Ready? Like, Henry Cejudo's kind of recruiting everyone at the gym. Like, Figueiredo was there, Wei Lee was there, John Jones, like Yuri's there. Like, what's that kind of like seeing all these guys walk through?
It's cool. You know, these are some of the best fighters in the world, and you really get to pick their brain and, you know, see what it is, like the intangibles that make them a champion. Because, you know, at the top, everybody's big, strong, fast, you know, has all the attributes, skilled. So what is it that, like, separates the champion from the rest? And, you know, I think it's the mindset. So, you know, being able to talk to these guys about their mindset going into a fight, in between fights, and training camp, and, you know, just about every part of life. It's really kind of stuff you stick in your back pocket. And, you know, I think this will work for me. I'll keep it. No, that's crazy. I can't do that. Throw it away, you know, kind of thing. So you're just kind of listening and, you know, with your notepad out and take notes, you know.
All right, well, Eryk, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
I appreciate.
All right, we're joined by UFC heavyweight Parker Porter, who's back in action. Parker, how's it going, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It seems like whenever I talk to you, a fight only gets announced like 2 or 3 weeks before. Like, is this another scenario where you had a lot more notice?
No, this is a shorter notice fight. we agreed to take this fight last Wednesday. So, yeah, it was about a 4 weeks notice.
And how weird was it? Like, I don't even think Jailton Almeida was a guy even on your radar. He's a 205er. So, like, were you kind of surprised they offered you him?
I don't think either of us had each other on our radar. You know, it was just one of those situations where, you know, I think from my understanding, his opponent had to pull out for an injury or whatever it may be, and he really wanted to fight, and the UFC hit my manager up and offered it, and we were like, yeah, I guess so. Why not?
And you're just size. Like, how much do you think that's going to play a role in it? Like, this is a guy that fights at 205, and you're someone that is right near the weight limit at heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a little bit tougher for him, but, you know, most guys that are, you know, heavyweight or 205 all intertrain with each other, and the size discrepancy isn't always that big of a deal for them. So I don't think my size is going to be, you know, too much of an advantage, but I think it'll help. You know, and then the same situation where I think, you know, him being a little bit smaller is going to help me in some aspects, but it'll be more tricky to handle in others. You know, we obviously expect him to be quicker than most of the other heavyweights, just naturally.
He is someone that likes to wrestle, but do you think that's going to be hard for him to get you down just because that's a lot heavier guy and a stronger guy to take down than what he's used to?
I think that plays a bigger role in the grappling side of things. You know, you don't always see a big difference in performance between guys that are, you know, really coming to strike and bang out when there's a big weight difference, other than one guy getting tired or being a little bit slower. But you definitely see differences, more profound differences when the grappling part of things comes up, especially in strength and just general size and fatigue and everything like that. So I think it's going to be interesting, though. You know, like, he's obviously a very accomplished grappler. That's you know, all these like normal factors that you would kind of take in, you kind of have to all take them with a grain of salt, because there's, you know, exceptions to every rule.
How do you kind of think you match up against him then?
I think I've got the better striking, and I think his grappling is better than mine, but not as much better than my striking is than his. Yeah.
So with this one too, like, is just because you have short notice, like, is it hard to prepare for him just because, like, this is a guy you probably never thought you're gonna fight, and then it's his debut, and like there's not much on there out there on him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, trying to find video on him was, you know, there's really not a lot out there. And then, you know, a couple of his fights were just straight grappling matches, so it's really hard to get a feel for how things would go when you take that striking element out of an MMA match. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think it was any real more difficult task to really kind of be like, hey, you know, we need to do this and do that, and really game plan with everything. I don't think it was that much more difficult to figure out what we need to be doing.
I was wrong. He has that one UFC fight, but it was over pretty quick. But with training camp, then just having like 3 weeks, like, what is it like? Is it more just getting the conditioning up, or is it trying to game plan for him then?
A little bit of both, you know, really major focus on the conditioning and making sure that that's fight ready, as always. And then more tailoring those conditioning sessions to more specific stuff that we think we're going to encounter in the fight.
How do you kind of see it playing out then?
I mean, like, it's the dude has a lot, all of his wins are by finish with either ground and pound or submission. I think he might have like one, maybe two decisions on there. But, you know, where he's like you said, he's really well known for his grappling, his wrestling. So we're expecting him to be looking for that, and just you know, take that as it comes.
As something that I think people are going to overlook in this fight is your power, just because he's moving up to heavyweight, and I think getting hit by like a 260-pound guy probably hurts a lot more than getting punched by light heavyweights. Do you think that power is going to play a big role in it?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm still looking for my first finish. And I would love to make sure that I can get a finish on this next fight. But in the end, I'm always just looking to get that win in good fashion.
Are you a bit disappointed it's another Apex show? Like, you still haven't got to experience that crowd yet.
Yeah, I am, but I'm not. Like I'm really looking forward to the day that I get in front of a stadium full of people. But there's that familiarity that comes with and routine that comes with the Apex. It's like coming to my vacation house. Like I know what to expect. I know where I know who I'm gonna run into, where I can go, what I can do. So it makes it a little more a lot less stressful in that sense. But yeah, I am really looking forward to getting in front of a crowd of people.
And I guess it's a bit better now too, where from what my understanding is, you guys can actually leave the hotel and kind of explore. Where it's not just
Yeah, we're not
lockdown.
quite on lockdown. We're not in that little bubble like we were during the pandemic or early post pandemic when things started opening back up. And it's a lot more enjoyable. Like we could just go out to dinner, or like go to the grocery store whenever we want, or go training here, or, everything. We're not locked down. So it's definitely definitely a nice change there.
I guess the one kind of benefit is having so many fights at the Apex is when you do get the crowd, like, fans will know you a lot more. Where say it was your debut and like you probably wouldn't get as much of a cheer because no one kind of knows who you are. Now that you've been in there a bit, I guess next time you go in front of a crowd, they'll actually cheer and they'll actually know who you are.
Yeah, they won't be like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. With this one, like, what do you think it does for you in the division? Just because I imagine Dalton's going back to light heavyweight after this one's like, what do you think it even does for you? And like, where do you think kind of puts you?
I don't know. I was just talking about this, and it it's almost like a lose-lose type of situation for me, where it's like, all right, I win, and you know a okay, great, I beat a light heavyweight, but it doesn't really move me up or down in the rankings or anything like that. But I can keep that win streak going, so there's that positive to it, and then of course it's another payday. And if I lose, I just lost to a light heavyweight who took my streak away, and I don't stand to gain anything through his progressions either. So uh, yeah, I mean it's definitely a little bit of an odd situation, but at the end of the day, we're prize fighters, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to fight whoever they want to match us up with.
Was there any ever thought of turning it down then? Just kind of what you said there of how it doesn't really do a whole lot for you, but then on the flip side, it is another paycheck for you and your family.
Yeah, there's always that thought initially. It was like, nah, do I want that or do I not want that? And um, yeah, I said I wanted it. So
I remember talking to you before the Dawkins fight, and you were surprised you even ever got to the UFC. Like, you kind of thought that wouldn't happen. Now that you're 5 fights in, like, is it still as shocking as it was back then that you're still fighting in the UFC?
no, it feels a lot. I feel a lot more acclimated to it now. Like I feel, like I proven that I belong here. I'm on my second contract. Like people are starting to know who I am, and it doesn't feel like it's not real anymore. It feels like this is where we're supposed to be, and now it's business as usual, and let's make sure we buckle down and we're ready to climb that ladder as high as we can.
Does that Dawkins fight like still kind of bug you? Like, I know on one hand, like that's what got you in the UFC, like taking it on a couple of days' notice, but then just the way it happened and like it kind of puts you back where everyone kind of thought, oh, he's just a guy that anyone can knock out that easy when that was like coming off the couch, like no training. Like, is that kind of bug you, or do you kind of look back and like I had to take it to get into the UFC?
I mean, it bugs me for different reasons, but it doesn't bother me that I lost that fight, because like you said, I needed that fight to get my foot in the door and then be able to prove what I could do. I had an opportunity that I'd been chasing for, it was 13 and a half, 14 years at the time. And, you know, you don't when the UFC calls, you don't just go, yeah, well, call me back. I'm not ready. Especially when you've been pursuing it for as long as you have.
And with that fight, like now that you've kind of been rising up, Dawkins is kind of on a skid. Like, do you think that rematch is looking like a bit more likely with every win you kind of get, and him kind of needing that step down and probably a guy out of the rankings?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a chance for a rematch, especially in the heavyweight division. And, I plan on keeping climbing. I'm sure he doesn't plan on going lower. I'm sure he wants to climb back up as well. And you kind of see those top 10 guys just all kind of jockey and change position here and there. Some of those guys have fought each other 2 and 3 times already. So I think that's definitely something that could happen in the future. But I'm not like, yeah, I need to have it happen now. When it happens, it happens. Well, it'll happen organically. I'm not trying to force anything.
And maybe you get the John Jones rematch then too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that yet.
Which is still like crazy that fight even happened. But it was so cool that like he was tweeting about you after you got that win. I think it was your first win. And just last thing though, like already on the second contracts, like what is kind of the goal for you this year then? Like you're already 2 fights in or before halfway through, it kind of sets you up to be a pretty big and active year.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay as active as possible. I was trying to stay active last year, more active than I was. I only ended up with that 1 fight because I was originally scheduled to fight Sherman in April, and I ended up catching COVID, and they were already so booked up that they couldn't get us in until August, and then they didn't have anything for me again until February because I was a little banged up. They had offered me a couple of things on shorter notice, but after the Sherman fight, I was so banged up that I was just like, I can't right now. So once I was healthy again, they were like, all right, February. But yeah, I'm looking to just be as active as I can, man. 3-4 fights a year, really just full throttle it all the way to the end.
Well, Parker, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, man. My pleasure.
All right, we're joined by UFC bantamweight Vince Morales, who's back in action. Vince, how's it going, man?
Doing good, Cole. How you doing?
I'm doing well. First thing I got to start off is you're supposed to fight Nathaniel Wood at UFC London. Like, how disappointing was that having to pull out so close to the fight and on such a big card?
It was so frustrating. Like, I volunteered, like, as soon as I heard his last opponent couldn't do it, like, I had called him out back in December after I fought Smolka, and I just felt like it'd be a shame if I didn't like try to get on there. So I was in camp, I was training, I was good to go. Threw my name in there. It worked. I got to London. I don't know if something happened on the flight or what, but as soon as I landed, I came down with a bad like flu. And after the PT and the medical staff looked at me, they're like, "Yeah, we can't allow you to cut weight. We're gonna have to pull you from this."
Are you surprised they never went to rebook that fight or no?
Yes and no. I was under the impression we were getting rebooked. That's what I was looking forward to and looking at. And then out of nowhere, rumor has it he's moving up to featherweight now. So I don't know. I didn't think he was the biggest bantamweight out there, but I mean, more power to you, I suppose. I don't know. I think he might be in for a rude awakening at 145, and when he's ready to come back down, I'll be here waiting. So.
And Jonathan Martinez, like, how familiar are you with him as an opponent?
Let's see. We both fought on the Sacramento card, and both had and my cousin Ricky. Actually, we all had our after party at the same spot. So we all kind of hung out together and talked a little bit, and then like I think he got a knockout night bonus on that card or something. So I don't know. I was like, oh, good for you. And now every time he fights, like you probably see my tweets pop up on there. I'm always giving him props. I think he's legit. He's dope. I'm familiar with his style, familiar with the team, considering I fought Gutierrez a couple years ago. Yeah, I think it's a great fight. I think we match up well. I think we're both on a 2-fight streak right now. We're kind of coming into our own, I think. And just looking to prove my own spot in the division.
Yeah, I've actually talked to him and Chris about that. Like, they're like best friends. Like, they hang out all the time. I think they lived together at one point. So, like, is this a part of you that's like you can kind of get one back on that team then?
100%. That was literally like one of the first things I thought of. I was like, okay, I'm getting this one back. Gutierrez, probably like I think they think that is my glaring hole was what he was able to expose. I don't think I was. I mean, going back, I would definitely accept the fight again under the same circumstances, but I don't know if I was like physically ready for a fight at this level back then. It being short notice, and I was amidst all the COVID stuff going on. Like I said, I know I'd be right in the same position if I was offered it again. So it is what it is. Definitely looking to get one back and prove that I don't want to call it a fluke, but I fixed that hole in my game.
How do you kind of think you match up against him? He's obviously a very good striker, but his last two fights, like he's gotten the wins using some of his wrestling.
I think we match up. Like I was saying, we match up well. I think we both kind of like to pick, and we're real selective with our shots. I think it's gonna be who can dictate the pace and land more effectively within that pace is going to be the person to separate or separate themselves the longer the fight goes. Let's see. I know he did show a little bit of wrestling, but I haven't showed any wrestling, so I think they think that area I'm lacking in, and I'm definitely not, considering that's my background. It's actually, I'm hoping some of that comes out this fight. We'll see.
Where are you doing most of the camp? Is it Timo Yama as always?
No, it's Syndicate, actually.
Sorry, Syndicate,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
you're right.
Yep.
I was thinking Ricky. I was thinking Ricky goes out there.
Yeah, I got you. I went over to Timo Yama's once and tore my Achilles there, so
yeah,
I don't think that's not my place to be. Yeah, so I'm doing everything over here at Syndicate. It's been, let's see, I think we had like 5-week notice or something when I signed for the fight, which is that's plenty of time considering I've basically been in camp for 2 months, going on like 3 months now. I'm in shape, I'm ready to go, mentally ready to get in there and have fist fights. So here we are.
And who are kind of the main guys you're working with? Like, is Ricky coming out for this one, or is it just the guys at Syndicate?
Ricky will be out. We're still trying to figure out whether next week or the week after is going to be good. We always like to, even if it's only a week worth of training, we still like to get that bit of work in. I'm stoked for that. The sooner the better for me. I always like having Ricky around. So aside from him, we got Davey Grant, who's been training the Syndicate for his fight in 2 weeks. Cameron Else is here. I've been training a little bit with Marab Joshvili. Who else have we got? Jay Perrin's coming in. Well, he's part of Syndicate, so I always get to work with him. Let's see. Shane Shapiro. Man, the gym over there at Syndicate. Yeah, bro, there's a lot of like high level, really talented guys there. So I get pushed every single day, which is great for me. Like I love that. I feel like I get to grow and get that much better every day. So I really can't wait to showcase that growth.
And Davey Grant's the last guy to beat Martinez, and he knocked him out. So has he been kind of giving you any tips or anything on the matchup?
A little bit here and there, but we kind of try to stay away from that. He's fighting my former opponent, so we're kind of on a who can finish whose opponent quicker type of bet right now. Just little things here and there. Yeah, he's just a solid asset. I mean, you never know what he's going to throw, so he definitely keeps my mind sharp.
How do you see this one playing out? Like, I think you surprised a lot of people getting that early knockout. Like, how do you kind of see yourself winning this one?
I plan to do more of the same. I know Martinez is tough though. It's probably going to take a little bit longer because I know he's durable and he can take it and he can dish it right back. So I think it's going to be a little bit of back and forth until I think I crack him. He gets hurt. He's looking for a takedown. I end up choking him out.
And with Martinez, like he throws a lot of knees. Like that's how he got the win in Sacramento. Like, is that something you've already noticed? Something you have to be careful of, his knees up the middle?
Oh, definitely. It's something I've had to be aware of for pretty much all my fights. I bring in a lot of like boxing head movement with my style, and I've learned the hard way in training. Like, move your head too much, you're gonna roll right into a knee. My girlfriend's the main person who's got that on me. a couple years ago, like bad. Anyways, yeah, it's something I'm prepared for. We'll be able to deal with that. I also fought Benito Lopez, he's more of a flying knee guy, so he's not really grounded when he's doing it. But I mean, if there's anybody you got to be wary of, it's somebody with like 5 flying knee knockouts. So I'll be all right.
How quickly do you think Jonathan throws a leg kick at you?
Oh man, I'm thinking we go out there, touch gloves, and there's a kick happening within like 3 seconds. I know Gutierrez did the same thing. I'm expecting exactly that. So good, we'll get right into it then. If you don't want to take your time, we can slug it out right away.
Do you still think that fight, like people are just always going to point to it, be like, oh, just leg kick him and you'll beat him every time if you leg kick him?
I hope so. I hope they look at that and just think that that's something to think less of me of, because they'll be pleasantly surprised when they're in there face to face with me.
Oh, what do you think a win over Jonathan does for you? It'd be 3 in a row. Like, I know Jonathan's a guy that's been kind of right near the ranking. Same with you. So, like, where do you think a win kind of puts you?
Another step in the right direction. Really, I'm hoping this one and another one, and then we're looking at like a fight in the top 15. That's my goal for 2022 was 3 fights, 3 wins. Looking at trying to have that last one be in the top 15. So I think this one's a step in that direction. I'm hoping we get a good spot on the card, and we can, because I think he's very skilled too. So I think we're gonna have it's gonna be a lot of good tit for tat stuff, and I think it's gonna be really exciting. So I'm hoping that's recognized and we get put on a good spot in the card.
And especially after your last fight, getting that quick finish so early on the card, I think you deserve that bump up.
Oh man, yes, exactly. So yeah, we'll see. I can't wait. We'll be at 3 weeks on Saturday, I believe. I'm stoked. I wish there was a crowd, but whatever. Apex, let's do it. I'm at home.
Yeah, just a couple more things is you kind of mentioned it there, probably one more and then a ranked guy. So like timeline, is it probably get this one done July, August, and then end of the year is that ranked guy?
That's pretty much the plan there. Yeah. Just before summer, right towards the end of summer, end of the year. That's I mean, if I could lay it out perfectly, that's how it would go. Give or take a month on any of those, and I'm happy.
Do you really plan to call anyone out, or is this just more whoever the UFC offers you, and then once you kind of get that near that top 15, then you can start calling your shots?
See, that's what the like logical side of me is like. Oh yeah, okay, we gotta wait, pay our dues. But like the irrational, like I don't give a damn side of me, like really wants to just start spouting off names. But we'll see. I'll kind of leave it up to the moment. I like to really think that I'm honest with the moments and my emotions in those moments. So we'll see how I feel when the time comes.
And final thing, that next fight, hopefully you're back in front of a crowd. It probably sucks how you got out of it, like you got to experience the crowd and they send you right back to the Apex.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. Especially like over in London, the crowd was insane.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crappy to miss out on that. That was one reason I wanted to go there. I knew they had a crowd. We'll see. I'm hoping I can look stellar in this fight, and then next one's in front of a crowd, because I love the crowd. I really feed on that energy. I miss it.
Well, Vince, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course, Cole. It's good talking to you, man.